Pierre-Auguste Renoir was a leading figure of 19th-century French Impressionism, known for his richly colored and softly rendered depictions of women. Among his many masterpieces is Young Girl in a Pink and Black Hat, painted in 1891. Although the painting's original French title is unknown, it is commonly referred to by this name and represents a compelling intersection of Renoir's mature style and the aesthetic trends of late 19th century France. This work belongs to a series of portraits of young women wearing hats that Renoir repeatedly created in the 1890s. The subject is a young girl adorned with a strikingly elegant hat featuring a bold contrast of pink and black. She gazes quietly yet directly at the viewer, wearing a gentle expression. Currently housed in the Metropolitan Museum of Art in New York, this painting is considered a prime example of Renoir's late-period style and an important piece in the museum's Impressionist collection. What immediately captures the viewer's attention in this painting is the model's elaborate hat. During this period in France, decorative hats were emblematic of women's fashion. Particularly from the late 1880s to the early 1890s, hats lavishly adorned with feathers, ribbons, and flowers became the height of fashion. In this painting, the interplay of pink ribbons and black accents is arranged with such visual flair that the viewer's gaze is naturally drawn to the area around the hat and face. The identity of the model remains unknown. Renoir often employed young women from his neighborhood, acquaintances who frequented his studio, or occasionally professional models. This work, too, likely features an anonymous subject. For Renoir, depicting a model's unique personality was not always his primary concern. Instead, he pursued the surface beauty woven from light and color, and he sought to evoke a visual pleasure that transcended individual identity. Looking closely at the rendering of the hat, the black appears rich and weighty yet not oppressive, balancing harmoniously with the vividness of the pink. Renoir uses this contrast in color to both anchor the composition and emphasize the tender, fleshy depiction of the girl's face. The hat serves not merely as ornamentation but also plays a structural role in shaping the visual rhythm and balance of the painting. Renoir's late style, from impressionist touches to classical smoothness. The brushwork in Young Girl in a Pink and Black Hat differs from the lively broken strokes Renoir employed during his Impressionist phase in the 1870s. By the 1890s, he had moved toward a smoother, richer technique, influenced by his admiration for classical masters such as Raphael, Rubens, and Ingres. This shift marked a renewed interest in volume and corporeality. In this painting, the model's face and cheeks are rendered with delicate gradations. The brushwork is so subtle that it remains nearly invisible, creating a silky texture. The soft contour from cheek to chin and the natural transition of light and shadow around the eyes reveal Renoir's hallmark technique in his later years. The background is treated with restraint, functioning as a stage to highlight the presence of the model. Renoir avoids rendering it as a flat plane. Instead, he uses subtle variations in color and brush movement to imbue the space with a gentle atmospheric presence. Throughout the 1890s, Renoir produced numerous portraits of young women in elaborate hats. This trend was not merely a response to market demand, rather, it reflected his deep fascination with themes such as youth and adornment. For Renoir, these were not superficial motifs, but vehicles for expressing his ideal of beauty. However, not all critics and art dealers of the time appreciated this repetition. By the late 1890s, such opulent hats were already falling out of fashion, and Renoir's dealer, Paul Durand-Ruel, reportedly encouraged him to move away from the theme. Yet Renoir remained steadfast in his artistic vision, continuing to pursue his aesthetic ideals even at the cost of ignoring contemporary trends. At first glance, such a stance may seem out of touch with the times. But conversely, one could say that Renoir was seeking a universal beauty that transcended temporal fashions. For him, the graceful figure and ornate attire of a woman were not mere imitations of reality, but embodiments of an ideal. Renoir's paintings consistently evoke emotion through color. In Young Girl in a Pink and Black Hat, the delicate pinks, soft whites, and flesh tones inspire a sense of gentle happiness and serenity. His palette, though decorative, never feels artificial. Rather, he captures the ephemeral shifts of color as seen in natural light. Color in Renoir's work is more than visual pleasure, it conveys mood and atmosphere. For instance, the slight blush on the girl's cheeks and the hue of her lips suggest youthful health and vitality. This reflects Renoir's worldview, a profound affirmation of life. For him, painting was a means to express the joy of existence itself. Young girl in a pink and black hat exemplifies the artistic maturity Renoir achieved in the 1890s. It also encapsulates the core of his aesthetic philosophy. In this painting, he aimed to portray not the individual identity of the model, but rather an ideal woman beyond personality. The work is not simply a record of fashion, but a visualization of timeless values, beauty, elegance, youth, and innocence. Through this painting, we experience Renoir's unique perspective. It opens up a world beyond material reality, a world woven from light and color. It invites us to ponder the questions: what is beauty? How should we depict the human figure? Renoir's answer to these questions is delicately embedded in every brushstroke of this remarkable work.